Is that okay? So anyway, the three children, myself, my brother Ed, my sister Cindy, were all there, kind of holding her hand as she passed. She was in an altered state. She was easing into death via an opioid, which was very much monitored by the doctors and the nurses. And my sister knew exactly how to do what she needed to do. And she passed in peace. I just want to say that. And I'm glad that my brother, sister, and I were all right there with her. And she was a 70-year member of this very club. And I don't know if anybody beats that, but I kind of doubt it. And it's quite a story. Years ago, down in the basement, they had a preschool. This newfangled thing called cooperative preschool was kind of making the rounds post World War II. All the people in the war, U.S. soldiers, et cetera, were coming back from World War II, and they were raising families immediately. And my mom started, well, she didn't start the preschool, but she carried on teaching the preschool. They needed a teacher, and she took it. And down in the basement, before CDC, our children dance school here. Before that, we had different things going on back in the day. And the preschool was one of them. They ran that, I think, Monday through Friday between 9 to 11:30 every day, And I wouldn't be surprised if when we don't have a date set yet for the memorial, but it's going to be coming up probably in May. And we've been surprised to have some of her preschool kids. I was in the program, so was my older brother and my younger sister. We were all in. She did that, and then she really did come into the club as a board member.
Hmm.
You probably was and also was involved my parents.
Yeah. Mm.
Your club. There we started our club with club called and they were very much involved in both of those for almost many years. So
Try that again.
Madam President, you didn't want to add anything, right? Also go back to our speaker. I and we never went home without 20 books. Count them. 20 books, I think. And so I took the time library use. I don't use it as much as I used to, but I still do now and then. And I want to introduce from the Northgate branch right down the street, Fifth Avenue, across from the old Northgate Mall. I want to introduce Eric Grob. Eric?
Hey everybody. My name is Eric. I'm the librarian over at the Northgate branch. I'm happy to be here today. It's nice to be here in person. The last few community meetings I've done in virtual, so this is my first one back. Seeing faces in real life. It's nice to be back and I do my analysis here in your family. I appreciate folks that show up at meetings and contribute to their communities in this way. I think community is more important than ever. It's one of the goals of the library to strengthen our communities and connect people with the resources that they need. But also we want to enrich the lives of people in Seattle, and hopefully I've got some new things for you. If you haven't been to the library in a while, we have quite a few things that we're going to offer. Yeah, I hope I have time to go through everything today. My presentation takes me about 30 minutes or so to go through everything, but please feel free to ask me questions along the way. I am happy to stop and answer any questions, and I'll make sure to repeat the question. Know what I'm talking about, what I'm answering. So on the screen here, I'm finding out website. So I want to be right away. Over website. Right at the top here, you can see it. There's a few options at the very top of the screen. And the library is open for hours. We have one fire. We try to get back within about 48 hours with an answer for you. Over here on the side, we have some common tasks, and the one on the top is pretty popular, so I want to make sure that I go over it. The library has partnered with some of the museums in town to give free museum passes. And the way this works is that you go into the calendar here and select which museum you'd like a ticket for, and then I think just be prepared that they're usually not good. The people have already taken them for most of the days that are listed there for most museums. So you kind of have to be on it, renew it every day, and we keep that around noon every day. So if you're able to on a computer at noon, gotta be fast. Uh, yeah, we changed it from 9 p.m. because a lot of folks who use our computers for internet access were only open till 8, so they would never have a chance to get it. So luckily we were able to change the time. I think it was based on the software we used. It was like 12 Eastern, I think is when it reset. So that's why it was 9 p.m. But did you have a question? The question was if the museum pass was 7 days a week, and I believe it's any hours of that museum or location. Yes, yes, that is 7 days a week. Yeah. Question. Let me just pull up a list of the places that we have. So we've got the Burke Museum, Center for Women Folks, Art Gallery, Museum of Life, Mohi, Moha National Nordic Museum, the Aquarium, the Sail Art Museum, the Wingfoot Museum, and the Park Zoo. So there's quite a few options out there. I know it was a little bit of a struggle for us to get the zoo, so that's really exciting. Thank you. Yeah, so you just have to be fast because they do fill up. I think, some of the smaller museums you might be able to wait a little bit, and there'll be a few days here and there, but I can guarantee that our museum, the zoo, the aquarium are those taken right away. What? Sorry. Sure. Yeah, I'll repeat that. It's, in the library, it's on our website. So it's something that you would do on the website, on this page. Yeah, we don't do it. But I just it's on the location, but it's usually at least two. Yeah, there's some places before. I can't remember, but for sure you can go with another person. Yeah. Yeah, make sure you have an active library account with us. So, in a while, just stop in. The Broadview Library is nearby, or come over to Northgate. You'll probably see me, and I can look up your account for you. Yeah.
How far in advance?
It's 1 month ahead. Yeah, and it's just a rolling calendar. Every day we add it, it goes to the next day a month later. Yeah. Yeah, so please take advantage of that. If you have any questions about that, let me know. And I can, but all the FAQs here kind of answer all the basics. I won't go over them now, but if you do have questions, just let me know. Yeah, this is a very popular service that we've added.
And all you need, Eric, is your library card
Correct.
access on computer.
Right. Yeah, that's all you need. And again, just stop in person if you have any questions about doing it, and we can show you exactly how to do it. Yeah. Another popular service that we have are our rooms. We have meeting rooms and study rooms. We had those before the pandemic too, but just want to give a little reminder of that. So the way these work, most larger branches have study rooms that you can book either the day of, or sometimes you can book it a few days ahead. At Northgate, for instance, if you call us or stop in the morning, you can book any time during that day, but we just do the day of, or you can book it for a couple hours. Our meeting rooms are a little bit different. Those are the big community rooms that, like the one at Northgate can fit about 60 people. The one at Broadview, I think, can fit about 90. Those rooms, you just have to create an account. And again, we can walk you through that at the library or if you have questions about it, but it's all on our website where you would create an account. And then you can book that up to a month ahead. You can get 10 hours per month to use the room. It's free. You can have food and beverages in there. You can bring in whatever you need. If you're having some kind of event, you can bring whatever you want in there. We've had a wide range of events in those rooms. We actually had a wedding at Northgate. Just the ceremony, just the civic, where they have to have a witness and everything. They were there just to do that part, and then they were going to go to the reception. So the staff, we got a little card for them. But yeah.
Child's birthday.
Yeah, birthdays have been a really popular use of the room. One thing to keep in mind with those rooms, they are public rooms, so we actually can't turn someone away if they try to crash your party. They aren't allowed, you can set boundaries as far as what you would want to share with that person. You don't have a right to all the stuff you brought, or you can make a scene, but we can't stop someone from coming in the rooms. That's always something to keep in mind, because it is a free public space. And then doing that too, we don't want folks running businesses or anything outside of our rooms, because it is a shared space for everybody. So if you have a side business, it's not ideal to use the library meeting room for that, which hasn't happened in a while, but every once in a while it happens. The Central Library downtown also has a lot of rooms that can be used, but that one's a little different. You do have to pay to use the rooms down there. And you have a wider range of what you can do in those rooms based on paying for them. But that's a different process than up here in some of our library branches. Any questions about that? All right. Go back here. Thanks for your patience. I'm not as graceful with this at this angle, trying to get my finger to line up with where things are. So this is a service that we provide. This is especially good for anybody who maybe hasn't been reading in a while, or maybe wants to try to get back into reading. It's called Your Next 5 Books. This is something that it's a virtual service, so you fill out a form and then we get back to you via email. It's for all ages, so if you're stumped on getting a book gift for a child or somebody that we can help with that too. We give you 5 new books based on your interests or what you've read or what you might think you want to read. I actually just answered one today. Somebody who wanted some new mystery books to read. They kind of told me what they like and what they don't like. And we encourage you to give as much detail as possible. Don't feel like you have to be brief. We want to try to get it just right for you. Real people answer these. It's not, like Amazon or something where, an algorithm has given you, whatever suggestion based on what they want you to buy. We actually do think about what you've told us, and individuals will answer it and we'll sign it with our name and everything. And you can always get back to us if if it didn't work out, it's okay. You can tell us and we'll try to do a little bit better next time. It's a pretty simple form. You just put in your name. You actually don't even need a library card. We sometimes get requests from people from all over the place that they heard about this program and they fill out a form, and we answer all of them. So if you know anybody who's looking for something new to read and maybe they don't live in Seattle, well, they can still do this form and we'll get them, hopefully get them started on some good books. But when you're filling this out, you just tell us what format you want. It could be if you prefer to read ebooks, or if you want to maybe listen to audiobooks only, whatever format you want, just let us know, because that can sometimes impact what we actually have in stock, and we don't recommend anything that the library doesn't own. So we want to make sure that you'd be able to just check it out, that you don't have to go buy it. But I highly encourage you to use this, and actually it's a good reminder that I do have some things that I brought with me today that I'd like you all to take. So I have less to take with me. or share it with others. We have a bookmark over there that's a reminder of this service, and then there's a couple other bookmarks and pamphlets, and also a bunch of pencils that I found in my closet at work. So please feel free to check out that stuff. But speaking of books, so that's going to be my next section here. I always like to go back to the home page of the website, just so that I can kind of orient myself and kind of show you where to go if you were to start from the beginning at a main part of our website. So that's why I'm going to keep going back. At the top of the page, we have a few options here. The very first one here is books and media. And when you select that, we've got a bunch of different categories listed here. But I'm going to go ahead and pick this top one here, books and ebooks. Oh, well, in theory, I'm going to pick that. Let's see. And just a quick poll here. How many of you have used ebooks at the library? We've got 3. Okay, nice. So it might be new for some of you, but I'm just going to show you some of the stuff that we have online. I'll go back to those ones. The ebooks at the library are through a service called Overdrive. They're a subscription service, so the library pays Overdrive for the ebooks that we get. So it's kind of like a middleman with our books. It's not quite the same as our print books in that way. We don't have as much control over what's available as an ebook, although that collection has gotten pretty big at this point. And I would say most fiction books that we buy now, we also have as an ebook. That wasn't always the case, but I feel like the collection has gotten pretty good so that you could have it in either format. To use Overdrive, you're going to want to use their new app called Libby. So it's a little confusing because the service is Overdrive, but the app is not called Overdrive anymore. It's called Libby. It's their rebrand. But it's available. You can download it on your phone. You can download it on a tablet, your computer at home. This is the app that you would use to access ebooks and audiobooks. I'm not going to really do a demo here just because that would take a whole other. That'll probably take me an entire presentation just to do that. But this is a question that we get a lot at the library, and I do encourage you again to use that Ask Us feature on our website, or please, stop in anytime. We're happy to kind of walk you through all the steps to using ebooks. Most of the staff are pretty familiar with this at this point, so any questions that you have or you want to get started, we're happy to walk you through it. Yeah.
Maybe one of my daughters. And the only option is my school available is maybe.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah, I wonder, with that, I wonder if maybe Amazon's the last holdout. Because I think we still, under some of our instructions for how to get it, I think it does. We have it broken down by device, and the Fire tablet is on there. And I think you're right; it's still the old app. But for most devices, it's probably time to move on to Libby, just because it's a little easier to use, but it's also supported in a way that Overdrive's no longer supported. So I'm not sure. I know it's been tricky to get things with Amazon, with the library. We've kind of had a ongoing, we're grateful that we can provide it, but it's been a little bit of a struggle to get some stuff on Amazon products. But a lot of the books that we have are also available in Kindle format. So if you wanted to read it as a Kindle library book as a Kindle format, you could do that too.
How long is the?
Yeah, so a good question. The question was, how long can you keep the ebooks? They have the same checkout as our physical books, so it's a 3-week checkout. And about a day or two before it's due, if nobody has requested that book, you can renew it. We do treat even though they're electronic, we treat them like physical books because we have to pay for each one. So if it's a popular book, you're probably going to have to wait, just like you would with a physical book. So you just have to go on the hold list, and then we email you when that's ready, and then you just download it when it's returned. Hi there, welcome. Thank you. And we have another type of ebook that you can look at home. You don't actually have to download anything extra. This is something that you would look at if you were just browsing our website. But it's this thing here, the O'Reilly Complete Public Library. Used to go by a different name called Safari. These are computer tech books, business books. You can the way you can read them is that the chapters will be broken down, so you can just select the chapter and then just read it on your screen. You don't actually have to download anything extra to look at some of these books. You don't really, I think they actually even got away with even having to check them out at this point, so you can just do them, the ones that are on here. Not all of them are new. I would say like some of the technology books, they're not the newest ones, but it is a useful library. There's a lot in there. I want to make sure I mention that. For physical books, I do want to highlight this collection. It just hit its 5-year anniversary. We call it Peak Picks. I think there's some libraries that call it like a Lucky Day collection or just a popular collection. These are books that have really long wait lists or are very in demand, like things that are part of, like the Today Show, like they have a book club. Like if a book comes through there, then we usually have it as part of this collection. Because when you look at the hold list, you'll see that there's, over 500 people waiting for a copy of the book. So you might be waiting a few months before you get your turn. But this way, we always have some copies on the shelf at the library. These are books that can't be put on request. So if it's a popular book, chances are we'll have it as part of this collection. And you just have to stop in and see if maybe one of the books you're waiting for is there, and you can check it out. We have it's a little bit different than the other books. It's a 2-week checkout instead of a 3-week checkout because we do want to have a faster turnaround with these because they're so popular. But we usually don't pick books that are really long. So I think I want to say that I think the cutoff might be 400 maybe pages. Like there's been some popular books that have come by that have just been too big for this collection because we don't expect anyone to finish a book like that in 2 weeks. But speaking of finishing books, though, just a reminder, the library no longer has late fees for our books, which is a pretty big deal. So you don't have to worry about us charging you by the day if you don't return a book on time. The way that works as far as enforcement, to make sure that we do get books back, after a couple weeks, if it still hasn't been returned, we do freeze your account, so you can't get more until that book does return. And then after a few weeks beyond that, you get charged the lost fee for the book. But as long as you return it within a year, we waive that. So yeah, so don't worry about running a few days late for the book. You might feel guilt from before, but you won't be charged with anything. And library staff forget to return books all the time, and I go there almost every day. And I leave things right by my door, and every day I walk by it, and I'm like, oh, I can grab that again. I used to have to pay an embarrassing amount of fines for someone who works at the library. I used to have to do that. So no more shame. You don't have to do that anymore. Any questions so far before I move on to the next section? Audiobooks, good question. So audiobooks pretty much work the same if you want to download them. They work the same with that Libby app. We have them all listed in the same place as the ebooks. We do still purchase audiobook CDs. So if folks still prefer the CD version of the books, we'll keep purchasing them until we can't purchase them anymore. They still make them. So yeah, we try to get as much as we can. And we have books in large type, we have all different formats, like physical formats at the library too, for as long as we can. We're kind of at the mercy of book vendors, so at some point, if they decide they no longer want to sell them, we might not be able to have it, but for now we do. All right, let me go back. So this is one of my favorite things here. We have subscriptions online to magazines and newspapers that you could read. So if you're subscribing to any of these, you might want to think about maybe just using the library services. This one here called Flipster has quite a few titles to check out. Most of our popular magazines like Time and I think The Economist and Rolling Stone and Better Homes and Gardens and just all sorts of just kind of like the main magazines that you probably see at a store or at the library. We have them all available online through this, and the library pays the subscription. So I definitely encourage you to check this out. I'm not sure if it'll let me. Not sure if it'll let me actually show you a little demo. I kind of want to, but I get blocked. Let's see if it'll let me. Right. Hope this lets me in. I believe there is a Flipster app, but you can, but I think you can just view it on anything. I think it formats to, it's like mobile friendly. Like I think the site itself can format to whatever you're using. Just pull it up here. All right, so here we are. So this is the most recent issue of Forbes magazine. And you just kind of flip through it. It's all been scanned on there. So you can just read the current issue that way. And all the magazines kind of look that way. Yeah, so it's kind of a hidden thing. I feel like a lot of folks don't know about this. Like they'll come into the library and be like, oh, I don't see this magazine on the shelf. And I'm like, let me show you another way. So it's another option. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of consumer reports.
Oh.
The vehicle, that new watch.
Oh yeah.
What's the story there? Subscription.
Well, Randy, I'm glad you asked. It's almost like I planted you in the audience. That is a whole section that I was going to go over. That's great. So consumer reports, I think it might be somewhere in this, but I would actually go directly to our online resources because we have those divided up into all different topics. So we have general research, but all the way down to consumer and DIY business. And if you know the name of something at the very bottom, it says A to Z online resources, and you can just browse right away to the title of whatever you're looking for. But we do have consumer reports. Let me pull this up here. And consumer reports is so great. I love consumer reports. We also have the children's library. We used to get those in print, but now we've moved to an online version. So for all the auto folks, or if you want to try to take a stab at doing something on your car, you can look at the children's library. But But yeah, consumer reports is here. It does ask for your library card. Something to keep in mind when you're looking at some of these resources that we have on our website. If you notice here, there's a symbol next to each one in the shape of a library card. When you see that, that does mean that you need to have an active library card with us. It's going to ask for your library barcode and your 4-digit PIN. Again, if it's been a while since you've used the library or you're not sure of either of those numbers, please call us or stop in and we'll get you going again. Yeah, we have consumer reports. We also have something called Consumer Lab, which is something that focuses on nutritional products and like wellness products. So it's kind of like consumer reports, but it's just focused on that and like supplements and things like that. And then the consumer's checkbook, which you've probably seen in print, that's a Puget Sound focused, and that has a focus also on like businesses and services. So a little bit beyond consumer reports, which is mostly products. But all 4 do require a library card to use those. And we have a little key on the right-hand side here where it says library card required. You see this kind of like Grecian column thing, that means that it's available inside the library. So we don't have, not all of our stuff can be accessed at home. And that's just, sometimes that's just the agreement with the company that provides that service, that we have to just provide it inside the library. And then that, the image of the current central library exterior, that's something that we do have to go downtown to use. And there's only a handful of things that are just exclusive to that location. Thank you, Randy. It's a great question. How many of you use Hulu or Netflix or any of those streaming services? So the library also has streaming. You can get with your card. You have a few different options. Probably the most popular one is Hoopla. And this is another service where, again, you'll have to log in with your library card and PIN when you're at home. You'll get a pop-up message that asks you to put in that stuff. And then you can create a free Hoopla account after you're in, after the library lets you in, where you can keep track of movies and TV shows that you watch on there. But it works pretty well. I mean, it's gotten better over time, and it has a big collection. It's much bigger than it used to be. When we first had it, it was a little meager, and now I feel like we're getting, the more people use it and the more popular it gets, the more stuff we get on there. Might not be as robust as some of the ones that you paid for, but there's still quite a bit on here. We have another one called Access Video, which is more, it's a place where you can find David Attenborough, like PBS or BBC World, and like those kind of things can be found in Access Video. We also have Canopy, which has like classic films and independent films and world cinema. And we do try to, as much as possible, to get some of the newer stuff on Hoopla, so you might see newer TV shows on there. But it's worth checking out if you pay for all those other streaming services. This is one that the library is covering. So,
Hey, Eric, you're not able to view on your TV screen, because that's going to be your phone device.
it would be a device, unless you had a way to connect your device to your TV. You might be able to do that, but yeah, it's not designed for, like if you had like Roku or something where it has like all the different things on the screen. I don't know for sure if you can do it that way. Yeah, I think it's just like on a device, but if you have a way to connect your device to your TV, then you might be able to. But... Oh, yes. That's a good question. Someone asked about old newspapers and family history. I'm going to go over genealogy stuff in just a moment, but that's a great question. Thank you. Really quick, we also have some music. Hoopla also has music. Interestingly enough, it also has comic books. So if you have any comic book fans, Hoopla has comic books. I didn't know that well, recently. So yeah, they do have that. But they also have music. This service here called Freegal. This is something for the folks that want to save the music and not just listen to it online and not own it. This actually gives you 5 free songs a week, a pretty big library of songs to pick from. But you save it onto your computer or wherever you want to save your music, some kind of drive. But it's yours. The tracks are yours after that. You get 5 per week. Hoopla is just like, you know, if you listen to Apple Music or Spotify or one of those, like it's just you listen to it when you're streaming it like online, but you don't actually hold on to those songs after if you're not connected to it. We also have something kind of cool, just a quick mention here, called Playback. And this is somewhere where you can check out local music. We highlight local musicians every year and we add them to the collection just to give their music a little bit of a reach. So like local bands and singers of all different genres. So it's kind of fun to look through there too. And I think every year they do a concert of some of the bands that got selected. They perform somewhere. Yeah, it's grown quite a bit. We've had this service for almost a decade now. So. But thank you for the question about genealogy and newspapers. I'm going to actually pull that up. This is a big question we get at the library. We have a whole department downtown that's devoted to genealogy, but we also have some stuff that you can do online to get started to utilize some of our in-person expertise. Over here on the side, I don't know, hopefully you can see it okay. Yeah, under common tasks, that top one there, make a genealogy appointment. We used to do these in person. Right now they're still virtual, but you can set up a 30-minute appointment with one of our genealogy librarians. Just by selecting that, and there's no limit to how many appointments you can have. Once you've had one, you could make another one for another time, and they'll work with you on whatever you're trying to figure out. There's an appointment request form where they ask for some basic information, and then we'll have a list of days and times that you know, if one of these work for you, that you're free, just select the ones that work for you, and then they'll get back to you and hopefully set up a time soon to meet with you. And they're great. The genealogy librarians they're amazing. Every once in a while they check in with other staff and let us know like what they're working on. They're a great resource. They do, yeah. So Ancestry, so something has changed with Ancestry, unfortunately. If you notice here, the symbol next to it is not a library card. It is a resource that has to be used in the library now, but at any branch. You don't have to go downtown for Ancestry. But unfortunately, our license did change with that, so you do have to come in person to use that. But you know, at the library, our catalog computers can access any of these, but also you get 2 hours a day on our computers, and you can keep extending it if nobody's waiting for a computer. So you could be on a computer for a while looking at this stuff. There's another one here, Heritage Quest, and that is kind of a spin-off site from Ancestry, and that can be used at home. I think Ancestry is a little more in-depth than Heritage Quest, but if you just wanted to get started at home, that would be an option. And it's worth kind of looking through some of these. Some of these are really interesting, you know, these historic newspapers. You know, this one here, it says that it has over 1,000 historical newspapers to look through. So you're not just limited to resources in Seattle or Washington, these can go all over the country. But if you are interested in Seattle stuff, we do have the PI going back to 1901, and then the Seattle Times going back to 1895. and it's been digitized. So one thing to keep in mind, of course, the name, I think the Seattle Times name has changed. It was called something else back then, but we have it all on there. I think, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that it's all digitized, but I feel like there's some that has more than others. Like I think that there's, if you go back pretty far, I don't know how easy it is to search for stuff and some of those, but you can, it's kind of like the microfilm, like if you've ever used microfilm, where you kind of had to like spin through all those reels. It's a little bit, it kind of mimics that a little bit, I think, because it's not as easy to search for some of the older stuff, but it is getting better. They're working, we're adding more to it and fine tuning it. So, and also we have the New York Times historical, which goes back all the way to 1851. So, yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions about that? Yeah, and again, as just a reminder, we're always happy to answer any questions anytime at the library if you have any questions about this, but okay. I had to create a little cheat sheet for myself so I don't forget anything. We have a lot of stuff. All right. So under online resources, I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but we have some resources for online learning. I just want to highlight these. So earlier I was talking with Robin about Linda. Linda changed their name. I think it was bought out by LinkedIn. So it's LinkedIn Learning, but it's the same, what you had at Linda, all those classes are over at LinkedIn Learning. This is something that you have access to with your library card. It's a growing library of all sorts of different topics, everything from Microsoft Word to coding to, yeah, it's just, there's a lot in there. So any kind of lifelong learning, if you want to maybe jump into some new topic or just learn about it, LinkedIn Learning is a good place to go. It's mostly videos, tutorials, people giving talks about a certain topic. If you want to go a little bit more in depth, especially with anything related to Microsoft, if you're interested in possibly getting some kind of Microsoft certification, we do have a program called Microsoft Imagine Academy. That's a partnership with the state library and with Microsoft, and it's provided free at all Washington state libraries. This is something that you go through a module of classes on a different, so let's say you wanted to learn Excel, make an Excel spreadsheet, be more comfortable using it. They have a whole series of classes that you can take and they mark your progress. And then you get a little thing at the end that says, that you completed it. And then it kind of prepares you to take the more formal Microsoft testing, which can be a little pricey, but now the library actually covers the cost of that too. So if you're ever interested in actually getting a certification, we've moved to actually cover the cost of that for people who are interested. I don't know, I don't have the calendar of that in front of me, but if you do have further questions about that, and I can follow up with you. But I know definitely pre-pandemic, we started to take that over because it was pretty pricey to take one of those Microsoft tests. It was like at least $100, I think, to take one of those. So, so I'm glad that we have another option for folks who want to get that. One up here, right under LinkedIn is Mango Languages. It's kind of like, it's just like a fun, easy, if you're going to go on a trip somewhere abroad, you can kind of learn different languages. They have a pretty big collection of them, but it doesn't go too in depth with language. It's just enough to kind of get you started if you're interested in the language. And they also have Pirate. So if you want to learn how to speak like a pirate, there is a Pirate one. That one's really popular when people on school visits. I only have a little bit left, but I'm going to cut myself off really because there is a lot more, but I'm going to only show you a couple more things. We're starting to bring our events back, which is exciting. We have some tax help available at different locations. just kind of have to scroll through our event calendar. It's right at the top of the page here, event calendar from our homepage. If you know what you're looking for, you can kind of limit it on the side here, but some of our classes and events are still virtual. It'll tell you pretty clearly on here which one is in person and which one's virtual. Our tax help is in person. We have, looks like one coming up at Greenwood. We have at the Central Library almost every day. And then we've also brought back our after school homework help program. So if you know of any kiddos that might need anything K through 12, if they need some help with their homework, we have it at Northgate on Wednesdays and Thursdays after school. And we know we have it at Lake City on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I think. So just be careful, just make sure to check the event calendar, because I think each library has it on slightly different days that we're not overlapping. But that started up again. We have great tutors, a lot of former teachers, a lot of folks who are really well versed in a lot of different subjects. So I encourage you to spread the word of that. I think that might be all that I wanted to cover today. But is there any questions for me?
Visit lessons.
Are you offering to partner with us? Oh. We're always open to community partners to provide programs for libraries, so please also spread that word. I think there is still a piano at the Central Library. We have a piano room where you can rent that. And I think the university branch still has an upright piano in their meeting room. So if you book their meeting room, you can have access to the piano in there. Right. I would take them in. There was an option that we had on our website, but I think we're still kind of working out the kinks with that. So I think it would probably be better to just come in person. If they already have an account, you might be able to do it online too. You can just go on our chat and just say, I need to update the PIN for this account. And they'll ask you a few questions about, like name and birthday and everything. But we used to have an option in our catalog where you could maybe do that yourself, but it never seemed to work right for us. So it's better to just let us do that. Save you some frustration. And then also, I just want to remind you again, please do take some of the handouts I brought. I have some on genealogy, or your next 5 book service, and also a little pamphlet about our digital books and media. And please take a pencil. And I encourage you to stop by the library soon. We'd love to see you in person again. And yeah, thank you for having me. It's great to be here. Oh, something else too. We are one of the distribution points for the gold card. I don't know if everybody has their new gold card, discount card. This is the newest one. It just came out not that long ago. So if you don't have it, I can just hand them out now. We don't have any kind of sign up for them anymore. They are for older adults, and you get discounts all over town. There's a link to the website on here. The handouts that they gave us with it don't have any of the businesses listed, so you do have to go on the website to see that. Unfortunately, I thought maybe we'd have a little book to get, but But yeah, if you know anybody also that might be able to use it, we have these at the library too. So yeah. It's for
There you go. Soon.
Well, thank you for coming, Eric. Thanks a lot.
Yeah,
Appreciate it. Maybe we'll have you back again sometime. Just trying to look here, and I am trying to find. I'm not sure if we have a speaker for next in April, and I'm going to have to call upon some of my board members to help me think about that. Madam President, I don't think we have an April.
I don't think we do either yet, but we'll figure that out.
We're working on it.
Yeah. Work on it.
We're working on it. Thank you for coming, everybody.
Yeah.